Shalom, everybody. This is Universal Truth of Mankind. I am Dave, your host, and this is Kabbalah 101. We all seen this diagram many, many times, but there's part of it that I would like to start revealing, or parts actually. But we're going to start with this, the left, the right, and the middle column. So we have three sephirots in the left, three sephirots in the right, and we have four going down the middle. What does this mean? What does the Kabbalists tell us about the left, the right, and the middle? The right is known as leniency. In an extreme sense, it means do as you want. There's no penalty for what you do. There's no need to change anything. Um, no need to correct yourself, to better yourself, and so on and so forth. While the left side is judgment. Left side being a judgment in extreme sense of separation. In other words, you can never do anything right. Nothing you do is acceptable. You'll always be criticized. And basically, you have no freedom to do anything. Now, obviously, these two, as extreme opposites, are not good. So we need something to balance them. Where's the balance? It's in the middle, the center. And we see four sephirots in the middle that balances the left and the right. So let's take an example. If for some reason, let's say you are a bad person and you've been judged. The only way you can get out of that and to improve yourself and to make it a benefit, the judgment a benefit, you have to permit it to transform you, which means you have to have the leniency of the right to give you space to prove yourself and to transform yourself and to move yourself accordingly. But you don't want to go all the way to the right. So where do you go? You go to the middle. You try to find a balance. Let's say you're a real good person. So good you're naive. Well, you're going to have to move to the left, meaning you're going to experience difficulties in life. Um, People cheating you, people taking advantage of you. And as that happens, you move towards the center. So what you're trying to do is find a balance where you have the most degree of freedom, yet you have the most degree of restriction. In other words, well placed. So the middle could be considered a balance, a harmony between the two. And that's where we want to get. So we always have to push the left and the right towards the center. So when we understand these attributes on the right-hand side and the attributes on the left-hand side, and we start mixing them together, we try to come up with the best interdependent situation. We go through the middle. So when we read about the commandments, we have to think of the commandments as revealing areas in our lives that we need to work on to bring a balance. Now, like I mentioned this before, but we find that within the Torah and within Kabbalistic books, we see the left and right mentioned many, many times. We're told in the book of Deuteronomy that when we follow, we obey, we implement the Torah into our life, that we are not to go to the left or the right. What does that mean? That means we have to stay in the center. We have to find a balance between giving and judging, loving and and judging. Why is this important to realize? Because the ultimate goal of Torah is not to condemn. Now, we see in other religions, condemnation is very prevalent. That's not what's being displayed here. It's not about judgment at all. It's about creating that balance between the two so that we would have the ability to be transformed. In other words, if you take, let's say, somebody did wrong and you throw them to isolation, that person's never going to improve. So the only way to help people to improve, to better themselves, is you got to give them a little leniency. You have to give them a chance to prove themselves. And if you don't want to be so naive, you're going to have to permit pain and suffering in your life so you learn about those things that you have not been dealing with in your life. We always have to go towards that center point, that center line in this particular case. We have to go between them. We have to meld them together to help us to better understand and better develop discipline that will help us become redeemable. So the middle column is about redemption. Think about this in the future as you're contemplating this tree. Please see below in the descriptions. I have other um, playlists to look at. And if you have questions or ideas, please feel free to share them. Thank you so much. Shalom, shalom.